Hola, ¿cómo están? Ojalá que estén bien. So today I thought we would work a little bit on los números, the numbers. Um, they're one of those things that you should start learning at the beginning, but realistically, they tend to be a difficult thing to actually master. So it's important that you memorize, basically your numbers at the beginning. But if you find yourself, counting in English and then, or whatever your native language is, and then translating, así es la vida. There are right now bank tellers in places like Barcelona that are not counting in Spanish. They're counting in Catalan or maybe Gallego or Nahuatl or whatever their first language was growing up. And they, when they hand the money to the person on the other side of the counter, they'll say, 15,000 pesetas or whatever it is. No one uses pesetas anymore. But they'll do the individual counting of the bills out, often in their native language, whatever that might happen to be. So if you don't find yourself immediately, swimming through these numbers and just saying, "Oh, this is so easy," don't worry, it's not usually easy for anyone. But we have to start somewhere sometime, and the sooner you start, the easier it will be. So, repitan todos: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So what I always tell students is don't just practice the numbers that you have to memorize by counting forwards. That's fine, but when you need the word for 14, you don't want to have to sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, how do you say 13? 13, 14. Because, it'll take you a while. And so you don't want to just count forwards. Count forwards, count backwards, count by twos, count by fives. So let's go backwards. Repitan 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Like I say, count by twos, count by fives. Repitan 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Count by threes. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Count by fours will go even faster. Repitan 0, 4, 8, 12, and we haven't gotten to 16 yet. By fives, we'll be over in just a second. 0, 5, 10, 15. But practice in different ways. When you see numbers, just 0 through 9, just read them out in Spanish. It's good for you. You see a house number, an apartment number, you see a 910, you said 910. Practice that way. Practice your phone numbers and your friends' phone numbers. So if your phone number is from Orlando and it starts with 407, 407. If it's from Houston or Galveston and it's 409, 409. Practice different numbers and different combinations. It will help you absorb them faster. Yes, it will still take a while, and yes, you might occasionally confuse 6 and 7. Yes, you might confuse 5 and 4. I don't know what you might confuse, but it's certainly possible, but the sooner you start, the easier it will get. Now, 0 through 15, you just have to memorize them. 16 through 19, you will start to see a pattern evolve. And 16 through 19, 21 through 29, you have opciones. Hay opciones. Tienen opciones. So 16, we literally say 10 and 6. 16. 16, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19. All of those can combine into a single word, 16, 17, 18, 19. And yes, if you're writing it out, don't know when that's going to happen, but maybe you're doing some homework. The 16 has an accent mark on the E in seis. Seis itself does not have an accent mark. Seis. One syllable word doesn't need an accent. But 16, so that you put the stress on the right syllable and you don't put it there, 16, it has an accent mark for reasons we're not going to worry about more today. 21 through 29, same sort of story. You can say 21, 22. You can stop and breathe in the middle if you're out of breath. 23, 24, etc. Down to 29. But most of the time, people are going to say them in a rush, and also they're frequently written as one word. 29, 28, 27, 26. Still that accent mark on seis. 25, 24, 23. Accent mark on the tres. 22, accent mark on the dos. 21, no accent mark when it's 21, but we'll come back to that. This first pattern that you see here, 21, 22, 23, is the same pattern that you're going to follow for the numbers from 30 through 99. So, of course, you need to memorize those words for 20, 30, 40. Repitan 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. The numbers are great practice for your diptongos, for your vowel combinations. Repitan 20. Sounds like the English word vein. Not the V sound, but the A. Vein. 20. 30. Sounds a little bit like the English word train. We also get a combination in 40. 40. Another combination in 50. 50. Like cuéntame, tell me. 60, 70, they look very similar. Yes, it's tricky. Remember, seis has two S's. So 60 has two S's at the beginning. Siete has an S and a T. So 70 has an S and a T at the beginning. Obviously, they've all got T's at the end. 80, 90. So all of them follow that first pattern. So how will you say 99? You'll say 99, and it has to stay three separate words. How would you say 35? You'd say 35. No one combines it. How would you say 44? You'd say 44. Not 400, computer, just cuatro. 50. How would you say 53? You'd say 53, and it stays three separate words. And that's the same pattern. 67 will be 67. Muy fácil. So, etc. Then after 99, you get to 100, 100. If you have 100 of something, if you have 100 years of solitude, it's 100 años de soledad. But then when you start adding to the 100, it's going to become ciento whatever. So 101, 102. Notice that the and is used in almost exactly the opposite places as in English. English, we just say 99. We don't say 90 and 9. But in Spanish, you have that I, 99. In English, your math teacher may not like it. My students have told me that it's incorrect, but I know that most of you say 101, 102, 101 Arabian Nights, 101 Dalmatians. So, but there's no and in there. It's just 101, 102. There continues to not be an and, 110, 111 for 111. When you get to 156, you'll have an and between the 50 and the 6. 156. 167, 11 more, 178, 189, 189. Of course, what would 199 be? It would be 199. Fácil. Then we get to the multiples of 100s. They look pretty straightforward. 200, it's one word instead of two, but that's not too hard. The ciento has gone and become plural because there's two of them. 300, again, 300, one word, plural because there's three of them. 400, and then, why can't life ever be simple? Why is it not 500? I don't know why. It's just 500, porque así se dice, 500. I don't know why. It just is. Just accept it. You can fight against it, but it won't change it. It's 500. 600, it's what you would expect it to be. 700, what's wrong? We appear to be missing the E at the beginning. It's not 700. I think 700 was just too difficult to say, to have those two ye diptongos in the same word. So it became 700. Just my guess. 800, like you might expect. Instead of 900, we don't have a diptongo at the beginning, we have an O. 900. 900. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And then, why did I write, I wrote 100 when I meant 1,000. So there we go. Oh, no. ¿Dónde estás, computadora? 1000. 1000. And it's just 1000. 1,000 is 1000. Ya. Eso y nada más. So the best way to practice these larger numbers, I think, is probably with years. So the year 711, 711. Very important year in history. If you don't look it up, if you don't know what it is, look it up, because you should know. 1066, 1066. 1066. If you don't know what happened, look it up. 1492. Notice we've only got that one E in there. There's no E between the 1000 and the 400. Not between the 400 and the 90, but between 92. 1492. And look up what happened then, because you think you know what happened, but that's just one minor little thing that happened. 3 or 4 very important, critical things in history happened that year. Most especially the first publication of a grammar for the Spanish language. By far, most important thing that happened in that year. So, 1776, 1776. 1776. Sounds like a tongue twister for S sounds, but it works. 1898, 1898. Do you know what happened then? You should. It's important, and it's important in the history of the Spanish language, as well as general history. 1898. 1984, always got to use that because of the book. 1984. 2009, 2009. 2017, 2017, etc. Notice to say 2000, you just put the dos in front of the word for thousand, 2000. The mil does not have to become plural like the cientos does when you combine it with a number. So if you have many thousands of something, you might find yourself saying, oh, 100,000. Why did I put 100,000? I don't know. 100,000. 100,000, 100,000, 101,000. And you might be thinking, wait, why isn't it uno? Why isn't it 101,000? We'll get to that. Just trust me, it's 101,000. 102,000. Guess what? 103,000. 104,000. 105,000. 150,000, etc. And then you build numbers from there, much like you would expect. So 567,000. 567,890. When you get to a million, we do say the un with millón, un millón, if you have a million of something, and you'll usually have the word de after it if you have a million of something. If you have 1,000 of something or 100,000 of something, $100,000. $100,000, $100,000. But un millón de dólares is usually going to have the de in there. 2 millones, you notice that the accent mark falls off of millón. That might be important to you when it comes test time. 2 millones. If you're adding more in the middle, 2,500,000, it still works. 100 millones, 100 million. Oh, 101 millones. The millones is still plural because it's 101 of them. So, it's 101 of them, millones. If you have this big of a number, in Spanish we don't normally call it a billón. Some people will say billón. That word does exist, but cuidado, ojo. You can get confusion because for some people, billón is an extra 3 zeros on top of this. So it's what we call in English a trillion. For billion, they say 1,000 millones, 1,000 millions, which makes sense. Here's 1 million, and so that's 1,000 of them, 1,000 millones. It works. So why the 101 millones or 101 mil? Because uno becomes un or una to reflect the gender of the thing numbered. Now, within the numbers, it seems a little weird that, we're counting the millón and the mil as a thing, as a noun, but just go with it. It's much easier to see when you say, for example, tengo una computadora, I have one computer. If you use the Spaniard word, tengo un ordenador, it's still one computer, but that's a masculine word, so un, and that's a feminine word, so una. If I have $1, tengo un dólar. And if I have £1 sterling, tengo una libra esterlina. It continues to follow that pattern of becoming un or una if it's part of larger numbers. So if I have $21, tengo 21 dólares. If I have 21 pounds, tengo 21 libras esterlinas, of course. Maybe not. Maybe I have a pound from somewhere else. Hay 31 platos. There are 31 plates. Hay 31 ventanas. There are 31 windows. Whatever it is that you're talking about, it's going to be masculine or feminine. But if you're just giving a number, if you're giving, a phone number, you're giving an address, what have you, don't worry about it. But if you're saying there's a number of a thing, if there's 41 casas, then it's 41 because casa is feminine. And you also have the higher numbers, 200 through 900, becoming masculine or feminine to reflect the thing that you're talking about. So here my example, hay 231 computadoras. We have 231 computers. The computadoras are still feminine. So 200 becomes 200. If you forget, who's going to notice? In big numbers, who's going to notice if you say, hay 231 computadoras? The una people will notice because it's right next to the thing. But if you forget with the 200, 300, and you leave it masculine when it should be feminine, no es un fracaso total. It's not a huge big deal. No one's going to be worried about it. No one's going to notice. Be careful when you're doing your homework, taking your Spanish tests, etc. But you know that it should, at least in theory, become 200. That's the correct way of doing it. If you have caballos, horses, necesitamos 541 caballos. We need 541 horses. I don't know why. Maybe you're having a huge parade or an invasion. But 500 is going to be masculine because it reflects caballos. And un is also going to be masculine, un, because You're counting the number of caballos. 1000 does not become plural in numbers, but it does if one isn't being specific. What do I mean by that? I mean, if somebody asks you, ¿Cuántas personas van a asistir? How many people are going to attend? Asistir is not assist, it's attend. You're having a big, ceremony, maybe a wedding. You say 2,891 personas van a asistir. Because personas is feminine, 800 is feminine, una is feminine. But 2,000, even though it's 2,000, you would think 1,000 would become plural, pero no. It's just 2,000. On the other hand, if you're giving just sort of a general answer, someone says, ¿Cuántos idiotas hay en la carretera? Who would ask that? How many idiots are on the highway? Uf, hay miles. There are thousands. So you didn't count them. You didn't sit there by the highway and count. There's an idiot. There's an idiot. Yep, we're up to 3,492 idiots. No, you don't do that. But, you want to express that, wow, there's an awful lot of stupid people out driving today. So you say, oof, hay miles. There's thousands. It's not a specific number. You're just giving a general sense of, oh, yeah, there's tons. There's tons of crazy people out on the road today. So that is the numbers in a rather longer nutshell than I would have liked. But you have the things to watch out for with things becoming masculine or feminine. You have the accent marks to watch out for. There are the ones on 16, 22, 23, 26. If you have 21 of something, 21, then notice that $21, it picks up that accent mark. So 16, 22, 23, 26, and sometimes 21 have accent marks. I wouldn't know that if I were not a Spanish teacher. But like I say, it may show up on your homework or on a test or something, so it's worth knowing. Watch out for the accent mark on millón that goes away. But probably you're not going to need to go much bigger than, numbers for the year. So, ahora el año es 2020. So you'll need to be able to say 2020. Hopefully when someone talks to you about 2024 or 2028 or 2029, you won't be confused because you'll know 20, 28, 29. And it should be pretty straightforward at that point. So, but do start memorizing your numbers 0 through 15 at the very least right now. And also the multiples of 10, 20 through 90. 100 versus ciento. If you mess it up, people will understand. If you say, oh, that costs $100, it's wrong, but people will know what you mean. So, but do start memorizing 0 through 15 and the multiples of 10, 20 through 90, because those are basic building blocks that you really do need. Pues que la pasen bien. Hasta luego. Chao. Nos